Good morning and a very warm welcome indeed to today's iOB business webinar. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on here. My name is Ben and I'm the resident business coach here at iOB Business. Now, going through today's webinar session to make sure you get the absolute most from the session, a very warm welcome to those of you on here just now, by the way, as well. Okay. A way to make the absolute most out of today's session is by asking as many questions as you can. And you're more than welcome to do so at the Q&A box at the bottom of the screen there. Okay, so in between each of the three core topics that we're going to be talking about today, you're going to get an opportunity during a brief pause to ask any questions and indeed jot down any notes that you may wish to take as well. Now, something that's absolutely key to point out as well, you're more than welcome to ask questions at any point throughout today's session. We'll answer them for you at the end of today's webinar during the Q&A segment, which is always fantastic. And we always encourage you to continue asking questions even at that stage of the webinar as well. All right, so welcome to those of you joining us just now. Pleasure to see you here. Thank you so much for taking the time. This is absolutely fantastic. Okay. Let's just do a quick check before we get set off. We're just approaching the 10 o'clock mark. For those of you just joining now, if I haven't met you before, my name is Ben. I'm a resident business coach here at iOB Business, and I will be taking you through today's webinar session. Okay, so there we go. Excellent. Okay, we've got some more people joining. Welcome, welcome. So let's go ahead and switch off my video camera. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring the presentation that we have for you today up on screen there in just a moment. There we go. Okay, there we are. Perfect. Okay, so what we can learn from the leading digital agencies. All right, now, if I could just ask a very quick favor before we get kicked off for today's session, just let me know that you can hear my voice okay and you can see the presentation up on screen there okay. Just pop a yes or a thumbs up in the chat box and I'll know that we're ready to rock for today's session. I like to do this just before we get kicked off, just so that I know that we're sending the webinar out okay to every one of you lovely people and that you can see it all right. Fantastic. All good, Ben, all clear, perfect. Thank you very much indeed. Grand, right, so let's get kicked off, okay? Welcome to those of you just joining now. We're just getting ready to start off with today's webinar. We're at the 10 o'clock mark, so let's begin, okay? Today's topic of conversation, what we can learn from the leading digital agencies. Now, this is a really big one for those of us that are current business owners, current digital agency owners, which some of us on here are. Some of us might be looking at it as a business model. This is really, really good for everyone that's on here. So what we can learn from the leading digital agencies, okay? So first things first, my name is Ben. I'm a business coach. It's my passion. It's what I love to do every single day. And it's truly a blessing to be able to present webinars to you just like this one here. Okay. So discussion points, how they win business. We're going to talk about how the leading agencies in the industry, how do they win business? And this is a big question on every digital agency owner's mind. How do I win business? How do I get myself off the ground? How do I win more business? How do I get more clients? Okay. So as a business owner, the goal is always to win business. Even if we don't want to grow bigger than we currently are, we still have to win continual business because guess what? As much as we would love them to, clients don't last forever, okay? Number two, how they strategize. How do they plan long-term? How do they understand where they're going to go next? How do they think? And finally, how they care for clients, okay? So how do they take care of their client? Even though they might not last forever, they could still last 5, 10, 15 years, all right? So how do we make sure that this happens as well? Okay, well, let's get into it. So beginning with topic number one, how they win business. Okay, well, first things first, they take plenty of time to research their market and learn where their niche slots in. Okay, because one of the biggest tripping points, one of the biggest stumbling blocks is I'll hear all the time, Ben, I'm sitting and I'm having sales meetings and I'm not closing clients. Okay, now I could run you through a million times over best way to close a client. Okay, reading the conversation, empathizing, understanding where the client is, the positioning of how you say what you need to say, okay? But all of that will be redundant unless you understand where you fit into the market, okay? Because I'll give you a very, very simple example. You cannot sell a £10,000 website to a business that earns £1,000 a year. You just can't, okay? So it doesn't matter how good your positioning is, how great of a salesperson you are, when you're saying, how you're saying, doesn't matter, okay? You will not close that client fundamentally. And what is the key problem here? You're not understanding where your niche slots into the market. If you are a premium website builder, you need to be going after premium businesses in certain niches or areas of the market. And this is a very big thing. It's a very, very important stage, because before we even get to sales, we have to do pre-sales, marketing, prospecting, understanding who we're speaking to, so that statistically we're increasing our chances of closing said client. Okay. If somebody walks into a shoe shop and they're looking at the shoes, they've pre-qualified themselves. They're looking for a pair of shoes. Okay, whether they can afford them or not, we don't know. But we've done everything up till that point. We are a shoe shop. We have nice shoes on display. Somebody has come into our shop. They're in a good position to buy. Okay. However, we must allow ourselves to do that in a digital format. Okay. If you have come into our digital storefront, you've looked at our advert, you've filled in the inquiry form, you've joined us on the call, I need to know that you are in a position to buy. You know what the product is, you want it. All I need to do is tell you why it's going to benefit you in a positive way. Okay. So they will analyze price points of their service offerings to understand their chances of signing a client versus a competitor. Okay. Now, not everything is based on price. In fact, very often it isn't. Okay. Now, I would imagine when I say price or competition, your immediate thought process is going to go to, oh, well, I need to be cheaper than my competitor. No, not for a second. Okay. We need to be priced accordingly in line with what our target market is looking for. Okay. Because let's put it in this perspective. Okay. We have a successful bar and grill. Okay. We have a successful bar and grill owner, and they're looking for a digital agency to take care of their business growth on social media, for example. Okay. Now they're going to be presented with two offers. The first agency is going to offer them a premium package at £679 a month. Okay. And it includes this, that, and the other thing. Second digital agency is going to offer them a very, very low cost, very, very affordable package for £69 a month. And a package includes some basics, let's say. All right. Now, if agency B or agency 2 is significantly cheaper, why are they not automatically getting the sale? Why is it not automatically an absolute slam dunk categorical win versus their competitor? I'll tell you why. Because think about who the client is. Who's the prospective client in this stage? Are they somebody who's looking to save money? No. Are they somebody who's looking for a cost-effective option? No. They're somebody who believes in a premium brand. They're somebody who believes in paying more and getting more is what's going to drive their business forwards. Okay. So price being cheaper will not always win you business. In fact, it rarely will. If you're simply undercutting for the sake of undercutting, it won't take you very far. Okay. They analyze the price points of their service offerings to understand their chances of signing a client versus a competitor. Okay. And that doesn't always mean being cheaper. They're analyzing the price points of their service offerings to understand their chances of signing a client, but you have to understand who that client is. Okay. So they will analyze the buyer profile of their prospects to understand how their market will respond to them. Now, a buyer profile, what do they want? What do they need? What are they looking for? When are they looking for it? Okay, there are so many factors here, but we have to understand. Imagine you were building a profile on this client, okay, on this buyer. Who are you going to resonate with? Are you looking for somebody that's looking to do business in 3 months' time? Or are you looking for somebody that's looking to do business now? Okay, are you building? And the thing is, some people do this. Okay, some businesses do this. They're looking to build a list of leads that are looking to do business in the future, but not necessarily right now because currently they're full. Okay, now, ask yourself various questions. Who is the buyer? If you were to build a profile on them, what would they look like? What type of business would they have? How much money would they earn? How quickly do they want to invest with you or start moving forward with your business? Okay, build this buyer profile. Understand then how your market is going to respond to you. If you are a premium digital agency, you want to find premium clients that are looking to do business right at this point in time. So what do those businesses look like? They're growing rapidly. They're expanding locations. They're making significant developments. They're putting up new offices. They're hiring new staff. Find businesses that are exhibiting this kind of behavior, and you will find your ideal client. And that's only if you're in the premium act now market. You might be in the cost-effective market where you're selling digital services, at say £50 to £100 a month, and you're looking for small businesses that are just getting started. Again, that's a niche. It's a pocket you can go into. Okay. So analyze your buyer profile, not somebody else's. Now, the last thing that they do to win business is they run in-depth analytics across the board on prospecting, okay? They understand what is happening with every prospect and why. So if a client, or sorry, a prospective client didn't decide to do business, why? Are we sending out a survey to them to say, look, just give me 2 minutes of your time. Tell me why you didn't do business with us. What was it that we did wrong? What can we improve? How can we develop? Okay. If somebody did close as a client, why? What was it that made you decide to go with us? Okay. Again, it's a quick survey or a quick verbal question. What made you decide to go with us? Okay. Analytics aren't always simply numbers on a screen. Sometimes it's understanding why something happened as well. Okay. But it's also on the analytical standpoint, how many people did you have to speak to before you got a client? In what areas were you spending money? In-depth analytics, okay? We want to see everything so that we can begin to build statistical data, and we can use the law of averages to figure out, well, if I send out 100, if I spend £100 on an advertising campaign, just that chances are statistically I'm going to get X reward, okay? So that brings us to the end of topic number 1. I'll rejoin you again in just a moment for topic number 2. As I said, please feel free to ask questions. It's always a pleasure to answer them, and I'll see you again in just a moment. Perfect. Let's move ourselves on to topic number 2. Okay, we're going to talk about how the leading businesses strategize now. All right. So when they sign a client, they don't just sit back and expect the monthly fees to continue coming in. This is a strategy in and of itself. Okay. We must always be thinking about moving forward and how we're going to progress. We never, ever, ever, ever do this. Okay. We never sit back and just expect the fees to continually come in. This is a cardinal rule. This is a mistake that we do not ever make, okay? And the reason for that is if we begin to allow complacency to infect our business, we will find ourselves going south and kind of declining instead of going up the way, which is where we want to go. We want to be moving on a nice upwards trajectory with our revenue, with our client count, with everything. We want to stay on this path, okay? If we allow complacency to get into our business and our mindset, we begin going down the way, okay? So when they sign a client, they don't just sit back and expect the monthly fees to continue coming in. Okay. What would you think if I ask you the question now? Okay. Imagine you've signed a good client, £1,000 a month, happy days, everything's going exactly as you would want it to go. Okay. What happens at this point? Do you just sit back and kind of just do the bare minimum for the client and just expect the client to stick around? Excuse me. I would imagine you're probably going to say, no, Ben, that's absolutely not what I would do. So I want you to think about what you would do before I start talking about how I would suggest that we do things, okay? So they plan continuously, month on month, for their own growth and that of their clients. It's the first thing that they do, okay? They plan continuously, okay? If you are not actively working on a client account, what should you be doing? As long as it's in your working day, okay, because I'm a very firm believer in boundaries and working at a certain time and finishing at a certain time, okay? It gives us structure, it gives us routine, okay? But they plan continuously, month on month, for their own growth, okay? So this is the first thing. If they're not actively working on a client account, what they will do is they will sit and they will plan, this is how we're going to move to X position by X date, okay? So always tell yourself where you're going to be and by what date you're going to be there. Okay, if you want to continue moving forward, if you want to continue achieving things, it's lovely to dream, but we don't want to stay in dreamland the whole time. Okay, we have a dream, but we need to put physical timestamp. This is how we're going to get there. This is what we're going to do. And this is what we're going to achieve by X date and time. Okay, they plan continuously month on month for their own growth and that of their clients. So we also want to be looking at, let's say that we have a deck of 10 clients. Okay, we need to understand how we're going to make those clients grow as well. Because guess what happens? If our digital agency clients are growing, who's going to grow with them? We are, okay? We are essentially the catalyst for their growth, okay? We are the machine that's making it happen. And if we take our clients' revenue from £1,000 a month to £2,000 a month to £10,000 a month to £20,000 a month, if we can do that for them because of the work that we're putting in, the creativity that we're bringing to the table, we will find ourselves delivering an exceptional amount of value for our client, but not only for our client, also for ourselves, because guess who can turn around and recommend that each quarterly review that our fees go up based on what we're providing for the client, okay? If you are earning your client money, you have this undeniable ability to have a conversation. We're earning you lots and lots and lots of money. How about we reanalyze and restructure our deal, okay? It's also a fantastic way of keeping clients, Okay. Now they watch for fluctuations in the market or new capabilities being developed by tech giants. Okay. You got Meta for a start. Okay. What are they doing? What are they bringing to the market? Are they bringing out a new way to advertise? Are they bringing out a new system that our clients can jump on? Is there a new social media channel being released that we can be one of the first on? Okay. They watch for fluctuations in the market. They see what's happening. Okay. You know, are Google ads becoming more popular than Facebook ads or vice versa? That would be a fluctuation in the market. If Facebook ads are on the rise, we want to jump on that versus what Google ads are doing. Okay. New capabilities being developed, social media channels, ways to advertise, organization, things that we can use, you know, planning software, what's happening. Okay. Is there new CRM capability coming out? Is email marketing becoming more advanced? We want to be one of the first on these wagons. Okay. So a really, really easy way of staying on top of this kind of thing, sign up to digital marketing newsletters. They spend their entire time in business looking at what's happening next. Don't spend all of your time doing the work yourself. Jump on those channels that are already doing the work, and you will be one of the first to get the information. They think outside the box, do what others are not. Okay. And this is the intangible. You have to be creative. You have to get creative. You have to think outside of the box. Okay. What are other people not doing that you could be doing? How do you create a unique selling point? What's unique about your agency versus other agencies? Sell on USPs, sell on what you deliver for your clients, not on undercutting others on price. That is how they strategize. Okay. That is how they become the best in the business. And that is how they grow consistently. All right. So I'm going to give you another brief pause and I'll be back with you in just a moment's time for topic number 3. Perfect. So let's move on to the third and final topic for today, how they care for clients. Okay. Now, this is a really big thing. This is how we keep clients for 5, 10, 15 years versus clients staying for a couple of months and then leaving because we're not giving them satisfactory service. And this is what we have to keep in mind, okay? They give tailored, customized advice to each client because they understand that not two clients are the same. One of the biggest mistakes you can make in client care is painting two clients with the same brush, okay? They are not the same. Now, what I mean by this is that just because one client wants to meet with you every week, some clients might not want to meet at all. Some clients might want to just catch up over the phone for 15 minutes and get a tailored report once a week. Okay. We have to be able to adapt to what our clients actually want instead of assuming that all clients are going to be the same. Now, I realize from our standpoint, it might be easier to say, oh, well, we offer weekly client meetings. That's what we do. Okay. So what I'm saying is implement things as a minimum for yourself. Okay. Absolute maximum workload. Sorry, I mean maximum instead of minimum. Maximum workload that you're going to put in for yourself. Okay. So say at the absolute most, what we're going to give clients is one meeting a week so that you're prepared and happy to do that. But if your client turns around and says, actually, let's just catch up on the phone once a month. Okay. Go to what they want to do. Okay. It's not an indicator that they're not interested. It's not an indicator that they're going to leave the business necessarily, as long as it's consistent. Okay. It's just an indication that you're going to help them be treated the way that they want to be treated as a client. Okay. Now, the reason I put it this way is because if your maximum commitment is one meeting a week per client, then if anybody wants any less than that, it's a good thing. The thing that you run into a problem with is if the maximum you'll do is a quick phone call and clients start requesting weekly meetings, it's going to feel like an additional workload. But vice versa, it's not, if you see what I'm saying. Okay. Now, the second component to this, something that you would need to watch for, is if a client's been meeting with you consistently every week and then they switch to only wanting the odd phone call, that is something that could be an indication that they're thinking about leaving. Okay, so just keep your eye out for these kinds of signals. But if from day dot, the client just wants a quick phone call once a week, it could be because they themselves are very busy, or they travel a lot for work, or they do whatever it is that they're doing. Okay, so it's not an indication that they're not interested. It's just how they want to be managed. They take personal care in their client's success. Okay, they have a genuine, empathetic approach to what's happening with their clients. After all, the success of their client is the success of them as a digital agency. They are hyper aware of this. They understand that if their client does well, they will do well. Okay. And that is absolutely true. If you take your client from earning £5,000 a month to £50,000 a month, that client's going to stay with you for a very, very long time. And it's going to be very, very hard for them, A, to match what you are currently doing with any other agency, and B, to find an agency that actually cares about their success as much as you do. Okay. If you are genuinely personally invested in the success of your client, you're going to find that they appreciate, acknowledge, and understand this. They personalize reporting metrics to support their clients' growth efforts, okay? One of the biggest mistakes I see that agencies make is they give the same boilerplate report for every single client, okay? Even if their companies are completely different. Would you give the same reporting metrics to a hair salon as you would a gym? You wouldn't, because it's not even remotely the same thing, okay? Now, what you want to do, just to give you an example, if you're looking at reporting metrics, how many new gym memberships got signed up for this month, okay? But you wouldn't say, well, how many new hair care memberships got signed up for this month, because that's very unlikely to be their business model. So understand that each business is unique, and then you can create your own boilerplate report, if you like, for each independent business so that the workload isn't massive. Stick to the same metrics month on month for the business, but make sure that they're unique to said business. And finally, they check in with their client as much as their client would like, okay? Like I said, if it's a quick phone call or if it's a weekly meeting or a monthly meeting, they understand that, okay? And it's not on us to force a weekly meeting on our client if they don't want to do it because they travel all the time or this or that and they struggle to commit to that. Sometimes they're happy just catching up over the phone, especially if they're mobile. They're traveling all the time and they just want an update on the phone. What's happening? Hey, you taking care of this? You taking care of that? Perfect. And then you send them over a report at the end of every week or the end of every month, whatever is necessary and asked for. Okay, so they check in with their clients as much as their client would like, within reason. Okay, so give yourself a maximum of 1 meeting per week. Okay, and if the client wants less than that, perfect. If they want more than that, it's not possible. Okay, so you do have to maintain that boundary of, I'm already meeting with you once a week. I'm not going to meet with you 3 times a week. Okay, so in a nutshell, that is us for how they care for their clients, and that is what makes them titans of the industry. Okay. They are very, very powerful, very, very strong in their niche, in their market, because this is how they run their business. All right. So that brings us to the end of topic number 3. I'll join you again in just a moment for the recap and then the Q&A segment as well. There's still time to ask questions. Thank you to those that have asked questions so far. It'd be a pleasure to answer them, and I'll answer them in just a moment's time for you. Perfect. So let's do the recap for today's session. Number 1, take plenty of time to research your ideal market so that you don't end up in sales scenarios where you're not closing any client because it's the wrong prospect. This is one of the biggest things we want to avoid. Number 2, never sit back and expect the monthly fees to continue coming in. Make sure you're always planning for your growth and the growth of your clients. Number 3, take a personal interest in the success of your clients, because ultimately it will become a personal interest to you, because if your client's doing well, you'll be doing well as well, very, very likely. Okay, so as always, a massive thank you for attending today's webinar session. If you'd like to talk to a member of our team, you're more than welcome to head over to iob-business.com/talk. And on there, you can book a call at a time that suits you. Okay, so when you follow this link, you'll see a calendar just like this one, where you can pick a date and a time very, very easily. And you can book a conversation with one of our team, which is always fantastic and very much welcome. Okay, so I'm going to leave this link up on the screen there for you. I'm going to talk about the questions that I now have. All right, so we've got 2 questions in from today, which is wonderful. Please feel free to ask any more if you do have any questions that you'd like to ask. First question, what if I check in on my client too much? Great. So simple answer for this one, always establish this with your client first. Okay, if you feel like you're checking in on too much, it's likely because they've given you a kind of signal to say that you're doing that. Okay, and if they haven't, then I wouldn't worry about it. If you're saying too much, but they haven't given any clear signal, even discreetly, to say, look, this is a bit much, as in always rescheduling calls or asking to push a call back. Okay, if they haven't done any of that, then you may not be talking to them too much. All right, but establish this with your client. Just be happy to ask the question. Hey, when would you like to, have the next meeting? What kind of suits you? What sort of timeline works best for you? Okay, hope that helps. Great question. Thanks for asking. Next question, how do I know if a prospect is likely to buy or not? Okay, well, listen, here's the thing. You can't guarantee it, all right, but you can strategize it. So for example, if someone who isn't turning up for meetings or willing to give you information such as contact details, likely to buy, okay? It's a big thing, right? So you can never guarantee it, but you can strategize. Try and read the signals ahead of time. If somebody's showing no clear buying indicators, as I call them, well, they're largely recognized across the market, buying signals, buying indicators. If somebody's showing no intention of giving you any information ahead of the call, are they likely to convert or not? Okay, so look at it this way. All right, as long as you don't ask loads and loads and loads of questions, an overwhelming amount of questions before the call and sort of putting them off that way, it's perfectly reasonable to ask a few kind of clear, simple questions before they attend the call. And don't be concerned that this is going to put off a potential client, because if somebody is not willing to give, a few details about their business before they join the call with you, A, it's unlikely that they respect your business and what you can do for them. But B, unlikely they're going to buy. Because if they were, they would have absolutely no problem. So really, you've lost absolutely nothing. Okay, another fantastic question. Thank you. All right, do we have any more questions other than the two that we had in? Doesn't look like we do. Okay, well, as always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much indeed for taking the time to attend today's meeting. And I very much look forward to seeing you again for the next iOB business webinar a couple of weeks from now. All the best.